Hey guys, and welcome to this week's installment of Tuesdays with Lauri. My name is Lauri Laukkanen and I'm one of the editors at SLR Lounge. You can also find me on Facebook at Lauri Laukkanen Photography. Today we're going to be taking a look at creating custom brushes in Photoshop. We will take a look at the different options that we have when creating these brushes, and we're going to finish off the video about making our own custom fog brush. With that said, let's get started. Okay, let's start out by taking a look at how do we go about creating these custom brushes. The first thing what we have here is an empty canvas. So we have an empty canvas here, and we're going to create a texture or a selection with the lasso tool first, and that's going to be the brush itself. So I select the lasso tool here, and I have feathered it down up to about 30 pixels. That's a pretty good that makes the edges a bit softer, and that's what we want with smoke. And then we create this a bit random selection. As you can see, I'm making these edges a bit like sharp, and that way we get a bit more random edges around the brush, and this makes it look a bit more realistic. And when we have the feathering at 30 pixels, the edges should be quite smooth and nice and soft, and that way we get a nice smoke brush. So here I'm almost done. I'm just there's really no rule of how the smoke brush should look like. Something pretty long like this, what I'm creating here, usually works quite well, so we'll do it like this. So we have my selection here, and now I'm gonna fill it with black. So I have black as my background color, so I can push down Command and Delete, and it fills it with black. And now, as you can see, I have this feather going around here, so the edges look pretty soft. So we're going to move this brush just in the middle of the canvas, or about in the middle. And now go to Edit, and to Define Brush Preset. So this is going to now create this brush. As you can see here, we have the brush that we just created here. We're going to call it Fog Brush, and I'm going to be providing you guys with this brush, so you can just download it, but if you want to create it yourself, this is how you would go about doing it. So Fog Brush, and we click OK. So now we created the brush itself, but there are some settings that we need to tweak to make the smoke look pretty realistic. So now I'm going to open up my photograph titled Realms of Reality, as you can see here. Let's just put it on full screen, and the photo is pretty much done here. The only thing that I need to add now is the smoke, and so that's what we're going to be doing now. So I'm going to create a new layer here, and we're going to start creating the smoke. But first I'll explain the different options that we need to keep in mind when creating this brush. So I'm going to create another layer which I'm going to fill with black, and we're going to choose this brush now, which we just created from here. It's the last one in the brush dialog. And we're going to just make it quite a bit smaller. And we have white color selected. I'll put the flow up just a bit. And now let's go through the different options that we have. So if you click here on this brush thing, we get these different options that we can tweak, and that way we can kind of change how the brush feels and looks like. So now first, when I make this brush, as you can see, that really does not look like smoke. So now, when we click on Shape Dynamics and we put it on, and put the size jitter, which means jitter kind of how it varies when we when we use the brush. So we put the size jitter at 100% and the angle jitter at 100% as well. You can look at this brush here down, and you can see kind of what it makes. Angle jitter means if it's at 0%, the brush works at the same angle all the time. If you have it at 100%, it kind of randomly twists it around and changes the angle of the brush, so that's good. And then roundness, the jitter, that really doesn't matter as much. I'd say about 40% looks good with this. You just kind of need to follow what's happening here and decide for yourself. Then the other thing that we need to make sure to put on is the transfer option here. So we click on transfer and put it on. And here we see opacity jitter. I'd say put it up to 100, it's usually pretty good. And then make sure to put the flow to about 100 as well. I'm using the vacuum tablet with a pen, so I would choose to control it with pen pressure. So now when I push the brush down hard, it creates much more fog than if I push it down lightly. So that way I can use the pressure sensitive vacuum tablet to my advantage when creating the smoke. So I'm creating I'm controlling the flow jitter with my pen pressure. And finally, what I would still do in here, just could put up the size a bit more. And we could try, one thing which we could try is testing out the scatter. With fog it works quite nicely, and we can add the count as well, so how much we have of it. So now, as you can see, this is starting to look a bit more like real fog, and we're gonna test it out now with the photo that we have here. So I'm gonna put down the count a bit. I'd say 9 is good, and count jitter, how much it again varies when we use the brush, to about 70. So the most important ones when creating these fog brushes is the shape dynamics. Make sure to put the size jitter up and angle jitter up, and the transfer controls, opacity jitter and flow jitter. And if you're using a vacuum tablet, make sure to control the flow jitter with your pen pressure. That way you get a bit more control. Scattering is a good option to play with, and there are these other options as well. They don't do that much, especially when creating a fog brush, but make sure to play around with it and see what works for you the best. So these settings are good, and now we can try to add this fog to our photo here. So what I would do is, I have already kind of colored this image, so I'm gonna select the color with the color picker here and select a bit more of a light blue. Put the flow down to about 14%. We don't want to overdo this smoke, we just want it to look quite nice. So, and now while I'm using my pressure sensitive tablet, I'm starting out by pushing down very lightly, kind of to create this first layer of smoke. I want the smoke kind of to feel like it's coming from the dress, so that's what I'm doing here now, kind of following the lines of the dress and creating this smoke around the dress first. The real smoke kind of varies in color, and that's why it's kind of good to always select a bit different colors and apply them to different places of the photograph. So from here I'm going to select maybe a color like this for this area here, make the brush a tiny bit bigger, and just lightly apply it slowly. And I would use a bit more time than what I'm doing here now, and kind of just refining the smoke, but you guys kind of get the idea of how we created the brush now and how you can use it, especially when we're using a vacuum tablet, and kind of control the smoke. And that way, like here, I could not bring my smoke machine in the airplane, so I used the second best option, which was creating the smoke in Photoshop. So when you're in a situation when you can't use a smoke machine, now you know how to create a brush that kind of can help you out with creating the smoke. So that's pretty much it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this week's video, and as always, if you have any questions or requests for future episodes, just leave a comment down below and I'll do my best to help you all out. If you enjoyed this week's video, make sure to like, share, subscribe, and as always, thank you so much for watching. See you again next Tuesday. Bye!